So now we're on to the RAM for the computer. So what does the RAM do in the computer? Essentially, it provides very fast working memory to the CPU to aid the data processing. The CPU has to call, store, read and write the working data somewhere at a similar pace to the CPU. The programs running tell the computer that they need particular data ahead of the CPU processing it, where this data is moved from the slower hard drive or solid state drive to the faster RAM for the CPU to work with, and old or finalized data is shifted back from the RAM to the hard drive and the solid state drive. This makes the computer data processing from the CPU much faster. So this is why you notice performance improvements in computers when you upgrade the size of the RAM, not necessarily the speed, because the CPU itself has much larger amounts of data to work with at any given time. Accessing the RAM optimizes the data flow to and from the CPU for processing, in place of accessing directly from the slower hard drives and solid state drives if the high-speed RAM space is not available. So RAM is called random access memory, and what this means is that data can either be written or read at random from any part of the memory. This is different to older storage methods that had to be stored sequentially. So RAM is known as volatile memory, and what that means is when you remove the power from the computer, such as turning it off or resetting it, you lose any of the data that was stored in the RAM. So what's in the box when you buy RAM? For this particular model, we have two 8 gig sticks, which are provided each in a stick. Now notice with RAM 2 that it's notched asymmetrically around the center of the RAM stick. This ensures that you can't plug the RAM stick in backwards to the motherboard, and this notch position changes with each DDR revision or the RAM voltage changes to make sure that you can't plug later model lower voltage RAM into existing motherboards, which can provide a higher voltage or generally be incompatible with the RAM itself. So the current DDR on the market is DDR4. This supersedes previous versions of DDR3 and DDR2. So you might see lots of RAM in kits, such as two 8 gig sticks in place of one 16 gig stick, and wonder, why do they have the two separate sticks? Essentially, it's to allow you to take advantage of a memory configuration known as dual channel memory, and it gives you a slight speed increase or processing increase as the RAM can be accessed in parallel to each of the sticks. We'll provide a link in the description which explains this in a bit more detail. So the main items to consider when buying RAM are the DDR type, the RAM frequency in megahertz, the RAM size in gigabytes, the voltage, which generally changes each DDR revision. The higher the frequency, generally the lower the voltage. So DDR4 is 1.2 volts and DDR3 is 1.5 volts. The CL or the CAS latency, which provides the latency or time between subsequent RAM cycles, and the form factor. So your desktop will be a DIMM or a dual inline memory module, and the laptop is known as a SODIMM or a small outline dual inline memory module. Make sure you don't purchase DDR4 laptop RAM for your desktop PC, as the small outline is much smaller and not compatible. Your CPU and your motherboard can only generally handle a maximum amount of RAM in your computer. This currently is around 64 gigabytes, but have a look at your CPU and your motherboard specifications to check this. You can download the motherboard and CPU manuals prior to purchase to help choose the right parts for you. And check your compatible RAM speeds with your motherboard also. Some motherboards might currently support up to DDR2666 MHz RAM, and where you purchase, say, DDR4 3000 MHz RAM, that will be an overclock. So you need to see if your motherboard supports the higher speed RAM or whether it will only support the lower speeds. Adding more RAM to a computer does allow your CPU to work with greater data amounts, but the speed increases that you get from adding more RAM to a computer is true only to a point. Most programs created will only request a certain amount of data at one time, but where you have multiple programs running, known as multitasking, each of these programs wish for their required memory to be loaded into RAM, where having larger RAM sizes will assist the computer operation, as there are multiple quantities of program memory required to be held in RAM to enable the fast data processing. So unless it's for very specialised tasks, we've found 8 GB is generally acceptable in a medium to high-end gaming computer. You can use 16 GB if you have a very specific task or if you're looking to future-proof. Generally, if you've got the decision between, say, 8 or 16 GB of RAM and getting a better graphics card, we'd recommend getting the better graphics card every time. So if you'd like to learn more, jump over to our website at EasyPCBuilder.com, where you can download our monthly updated build guides for gaming PCs of various levels, office PCs and media PCs, and you can also download our Easy PC Builder Master course. Thanks for watching.